Welcome to YouTube channel Parliamentary Reporter. This is English shorthand dictation exercise number 42 and the dictation speed is 160 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, I come from the state of Maharashtra where there is a caste validity provision. Even if somebody has a caste certificate, only on the basis of that caste certificate that person cannot apply for a job or take admission. This caste validity is done through a proper scrutiny committee which inquires into each case individually. I would request the Honorable Minister to bring in a legislation where in every state of the country there should be a scrutiny committee which can look into who is originally an SC or ST candidate and then give caste validity to that person so that only those who belong to original scheduled castes or scheduled tribes would get justice. Along with this, I would also like to request the Honorable Minister to bring in a legislation particularly for those who are taking admissions but do not belong to original SC or ST community. There should be a strict penalty in that case and they should be removed immediately. There have been cases where people have got jobs particularly in banking and other sectors. There is no justice given to original candidates of SC and ST communities and these bogus people remain in service till retirement. Therefore, I would request the Honorable Minister to kindly look into this. I can very proudly say that today in this Parliament we have 47 MPs from scheduled tribe community and 84 MPs from the scheduled caste community. In the state assemblies, out of 4,120, there are 614 candidates belonging to the scheduled castes and 554 candidates belonging to the scheduled tribes. These members of legislative assemblies and members of parliament are actually the voice of SCs and STs of the country. There are many issues of the tribal areas. We need a representation at the state and the central level. Today, by bringing the 126th Amendment to the Constitution, the government has given justice to the SC and ST communities of the country. The Modi government has continuously shown its commitment towards welfare and upliftment of SCs and STs. Before the Modi government came to power, the earlier governments also had housing schemes, electrification schemes, drinking water schemes, etc. But these schemes were never implemented in a true sense. There were housing schemes, but not many tribals and not many SCs could get houses. The Modi government brought in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which will be completed in a fixed time frame. Housing for all by 2022 is being implemented by the Modi government. The Ayushman Bharat Yojana is a scheme for universal health coverage for all the poor and the underprivileged. The Saubhagya Yojana is to provide electrification to all houses. I can very proudly say that through this Saubhagya Yojana, about 1 lakh houses in my own constituency have been electrified by March 2019. These houses were unelectrified all these 70 years of independence. In the tribal areas, people live in hamlets. Along with this, there is drinking water issue. Most of the tribal families have to fetch water for drinking from a distance. Now with the commencement of Har Ghar Jal scheme, every household is going to get potable water. This is definitely going to help the tribal and the SC families which had to struggle for drinking water, particularly in the summer season, where especially the women had to walk for kilometers to bring water for their houses. I would like to congratulate the government for increasing the budgetary allocation for the SCs and the STs. If you see, consistently over the last 5 years, the budgetary allocation for the SCs and the STs has been increasing. In fact, I can very proudly say that in the last 5 years, it has almost doubled of what it was in the year 2014. Coming from a tribal area, I feel proud that my government is working with a commitment towards the tribals and the SCs. I would also like to urge upon the government to look into the fact that there is a directive of the central government that in every state the budgetary allocation should be based on the percentage of the tribal and the SC population of that state. It is unfortunate that many states are not following that. So I request the central government to make a strict legislation that the states also follow the same rule as the central government is following. Along with this, I would also like to highlight the fact as to why this political reservation for the SCs and the STs is important. The first thing is that the SCs and the STs will find a place in the government as representatives of the SCs and the STs. Historically, both have been the disadvantaged groups who never had that representation earlier, and now they are here to express the agony and hardships of the tribals and the SCs. Sir, I would also like to speak about one of my colleagues who just spoke from the opposition benches. I was listening to him very carefully and was really disappointed to see that my friend from the opposition side was more concerned about 296 people rather than 30 crore SCs and STs of the country. Sir, I would have been very happy to support this bill, but unfortunately they made sure that there is something that we cannot accept. Honorable Minister is a very erudite lawyer, and I hope that he can explain a few things to us. He says that this bill does not mention the Anglo-Indian community, but it is there in the statement of objects and reasons, and also the annexure. If it is not included in the main bill, then I would like to know why he is not saying that the reservation for the Anglo-Indian community will be extended. He is explicitly saying that it will be extended for the SCs and the STs, which we welcome. Why is he not saying that it will be extended for the Anglo-Indian community also? We all know that the Anglo-Indian community is shrinking. Even then, the number given by the minister is highly exaggerated one, because I am sure amongst us we would know around 50,000 Anglo-Indians in Tamil Nadu itself. As my honorable friend has mentioned, more than 3 lakh Anglo-Indians live in this country. Their contribution to this nation in terms of sports, in government departments, especially in railways, in arts, etc., is something we cannot forget. Just because they cannot elect a member with a population of 3 lakh as they are spread out all over geographically, it is not fair to deny them this representation. Around 13 state assemblies have MLAs who belong to the Anglo-Indian community. 5 of them are from the south. The South Indian states have 1 each. Did you discuss with the state governments? Have they accepted it? This government is again and again interfering in the states' rights, and it is taking away their rights in every single bill. As I said, the states' rights are being taken away by this government. Just because you have a majority does not mean that you have to hurt the minority. Yesterday you brought a bill which would hurt the Muslims. Today you are bringing a bill which is going to hurt the Christians. So I think majority is not the only factor on which we should run this country. More than that, it is the humaneness and the inclusiveness which are more important in democracy. When it comes to the issue of reservation for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, we completely support that and we welcome that. After 70 years of political reservation, where are we? We still build walls to keep Dalits away. Even today, we cannot share a crematorium with them. Even the ashes cannot mingle with each other. We cannot share water, wells and tanks. We cannot share living spaces with Dalits. They cannot walk on our streets. Is this what we have achieved after 70 years of independence? I think we have to hang our heads in shame. You may see how many Dalit girls are insulted and raped. Do we raise our voices against these atrocities? Do we talk about that? Do we discuss that? In some ways we come to accept it. Even the media does not report it. It is only what happens in the cities that gets reported. We just ignore what happens to the Dalits in this country. The condition of scheduled tribes is so bad that we do not even think of them and we do not even acknowledge their existence in this country. Many people proudly said that in the parliament we have 15% scheduled caste members and 9% scheduled tribe members, but this reservation has been given as per the census of 2001. I think it is high time we increased it as per the census of 2011. We cannot just keep numbers which are long gone and decide reservations on that basis. 10 central government departments employ more than 90% of the central government employees. In these departments, around 8,000 posts for SCs and nearly 7,000 posts for STs have not been filled. Is this the way we are going to make the wrongs into rights? Even the central government does not want to fill the posts which have to be rightfully filled by SCs and STs.